Okay, so to continue, let's just substitute the value of n, which is 67. So A sub 67 is equal to 3 times 67 minus 4. Okay, and by computing this, A sub 67, 3 times 67 is 6, 12, 18, 180 plus 21, 201. Tama? So this is 201 minus 4. So A sub 67 is 197. Very good. And you got the same answer. Show me a reaction if the process is clear. Let me see. Good. Okay. Now that you know how to compute for the missing term given the explicit form, this time I would like you to explore and be more mindful, more explorative, and um, adventurous in identifying the explicit term. Ready? So now let's get to this. For example, we have 2. Let's do it from the simple first, the simplest terms. 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay. Make an explicit form for this. How do we make an explicit form for this? Anyone? Do you have an idea? Okay, some of our classmates are already doing their answers. Very good. Thank you. So, there's actually a pattern or a process that can be followed in your module. You just have to use the formula that's used to identify the formula for the explicit form. But even if without using that pattern, that formula in our module, we can still make our own formula for the explicit form. Do you want to learn it? Show me a reaction if you want to learn it. Okay, thank you. So now let's do this. This is actually by finding the pattern of our given. We have 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. What's the pattern used in this sequence? Anyone? Please type it in the chat box. What's the pattern used in this sequence? Very good. Your classmates are saying it's plus 2 or add 2. Correct. That's the pattern. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, and plus 2. And since the pattern tells us that you need to add 2 to get the next term, therefore, this adding of 2 has something to do with our formula. Okay? So how do we do this? Of course, an explicit form always starts with A sub n is equal to, ready? And you know that A sub 1 is the first term. Can you follow? A sub 2 is the second term, etc., etc. Okay? So in here, let's just try to analyze it. Since 2 is our formula, or if it's our pattern, so this 2 has something to do with our formula. So since if we are just adding 2 in the pattern, very simple, you use that 2 immediately in your formula. And since you're just adding it, you put n immediately. The next terms follow, or the next part of the formula follows, depending on the result of our given. For example, A sub 1 is 2. Can you follow? So if we will try to do A sub 1 is equal to 2 times 1, what's the answer? Type it in the chat box, please. It's 2, correct. So therefore, this one is correct. Let's try A sub 2. It says here, it should be 4. So therefore, if we will substitute 2 here, a sub 2 is equal to 2 times 2. The answer is 4. Very good. So therefore, that's correct. Another try. If we have here a sub 3, we're looking for the third term, which is 6. A sub 3 should be 6. So therefore, if we will substitute 3, that becomes 2 times 3, that is 6, correct? Similarly, with the next term, which is 8, a sub 4, it should result to 8, correct? So, since we got all these terms correctly, therefore, the explicit form for this formula or for the sequence is a sub n is equal to 2n. Did you get the pattern? Did you get the process? Let me show, or let me see your reactions if you got the process. Very good. Okay, take a screenshot. Ready? Okay, next. Again, just like what I told you, you can always follow the process in our module. What I'm teaching you now are another process, another strategy. Easy. Okay. So let's have another. Let's try this. For example, we have 3, and then 8, and then 13, and then 18, and then 23. Sige nga. If you will make an explicit form for this, what do you think will it be? I'll guide you with this first. Ready? What is the pattern used to get the next term in here? Okay, very good, Jesse. What about the rest? Type it in the chat box. What's the pattern used? Very good. So it's plus 5. Adding 5, plus 5, plus 5, plus 5. Got it. And we all know that if the pattern is plus 5, automatically that's 5 followed by what? That's 5 followed by, just like the example a while ago, n, exactly. 5n. Now, of course, let's not feel good about it if we already got the pattern of adding a number and then putting n with that pattern, because you still have to check whether it will result to the same answer. Oh, let's try this one. For a sub 1, remember, the result should be 3. It should be 3. Okay. So for the a sub 1, that is 5 times 1. What's the answer? What's the answer? Type it in the chat box, please. 5 times 1. The answer is, oh, it's 5. And it's entirely different from the first term. If your result is 5 and you are getting, or you need to get 3 for the first term, what should you do with this 5 to get 3? Very good. You have to subtract 2 minus 2. So therefore, the answer here will be 3. So if minus 2 is the missing link, what do you think will be your explicit form now? There is a missing link, which is minus 2. Very good. Exactly. Correct to those who wrote or who typed their answers in the chat box. Since minus 2 will satisfy the result of the explicit form with our first term, therefore, you need to include minus 2 in our formula. Okay? Oops. But of course, we have to check the remaining terms. Let's try this. A sub 2. Ready? A sub 2, let's substitute now 2 in our given explicit form. So we have 5 times 2 minus 2. The answer is 5 times 2. This is 10. 10 minus 2, the answer is 8. Did we get the next term, the second term? Show me a reaction if we got the same. Very good. So therefore, our formula is correct. One more try. Let's try a sub 3. Ready? 5 times 3 minus 2 is equal to, what's the answer? Type it in the chat box. Very good. Those who are typing their answers, correct? Correct. It's 13. So, did we get the correct third term? Exactly. So, therefore, that's correct. Finally, let's try naman the fifth term. A sub 5. Kindly do it. 5 times 5 minus 2. What's the answer? Exactly. It's 23. Correct. Okay, now that we know how to get this, kindly identify A sub 57. Go. What is A sub 57? Type it in the chat box. A sub 57. Okay, your classmates are now typing their answers. Correct. Okay, very good. So, the answer here is 283. Very good. Is that clear? Show me a reaction if finding the explicit form is okay to you. Very good. Okay, nice. So again, what I taught you is a faster way, a strategy to get the explicit form. Okay, that's just not the only way. There are lots of ways. There are also lots of patterns. We'll get through that as we move on to our next discussions. Okay, so do you have any questions so far? Time check until
Paano,
yes.
paano po pag yung pattern po, multiplication po o kaya divide?
Ayun. Thank you for that question, Hans. That's actually what I'm waiting for. Good. So, what if the pattern is like this? It's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, etc. Ayan. So, what is the pattern here? What's the pattern?
Times 2 po.
Very good. So, we need to multiply it by 2. Times 2, times 2, times 2 onwards, times 2 and times 2. Now, this is my challenge to you. How will you transform this into a formula? A sub n is equal to what? Of course, there will be n here. Now, how do you think can you use that times 2 in the process? Try to play with your formula. Sige nga. Okay. Sige. Ang tawag dito, common ratio. We will discuss this on our next module sa ano yon, sa geometric sequence. But for now, let's have it as the times 2 pattern muna. Sige nga. What do you think will be our process here? Where can we use this pattern, which is 2? Okay, where can we use this? Time check ha. Anong oras tayo matatapos? Time check. Baka mag-overtime tayo. Let me check. 9:25. Uy, tapos na pala. Uy, sorry. Overtime na ako. Okay. So, I won't keep you long, but I would like to leave this to you as a challenge. There's a simpler way to do this. There's a simpler way to do this. I just want you to work with finding that process. There's a clue on how to do with this mayroong kinalaman ng exponent. Exponent has something to do with this. Okay? So, you can make use of your module as your pattern in identifying that strategy. But after that, you can devise your own. Okay? Again, you can always go back to your module for the special strategy or for the process. But after that, try to devise your own. Okay? I will leave this for now for you to think about. And tomorrow, shall we have, yeah, we have our class tomorrow, I guess. Do we have? I know. On Friday. On Friday, we will have a class. And by that time, I believe you already know the process of doing it. Okay? Para sa Friday, yung ano na lang, shortcut na lang yung gagawin natin. Okay? Thank you for that question, Hans. Similarly, you try to understand also, what if we are doing this pattern? 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, and 2. Ay, wala po atang klase kasi half day lang. Oh, that's sad. So sad. Okay. So sad. Okay, so then we will just have it on Monday. But if you want, I can make a recording of just this special pattern. Do you want? Do you want me to make a recording of just this special pattern, not the remaining? Para lang makita ninyo yung sagot sa assignment ninyo. Is that okay with you? Okay, I'll just make a recording. It's just a short video that will teach you how to do the explicit form if the pattern is multiplying or dividing. Okay? But of course, I would like to challenge you first to try to devise your own. Okay? Because this is where mathematicians get better in math. When they are challenged to think something that's out of the ordinary. Okay? Thank you so much. So, nakakabitin, no? Ako din nabitin ako. So, if we will try to assess our understanding based on today's discussion, try to analyze, assess yourself. I will ask you to type your answer later in the chat box. For sir, at least, I, sir, super, super duper learned. As in, gets po lahat.